Yo, what's Gucci, fam? It's your boy, your top dog, Rehab. Today I want to talk about a video I found created by The One Boom, and it was titled "The Problem with Pro Players Feedback." I found it really interesting. I'm going to put a link in the description below. I definitely recommend you watch the entire video before watching this video because I highlight parts of it, I show some clips, but I think the video is worth a complete watch, and I think it'll help with the context of the discussion. Now, if you did just go below and watch the video that I linked, your first response is going to be, "Yo, dipshit, this video isn't about Halo, it's about COD." Well, thanks. I know I'm not retarded. I realize that. But the points that The One Boom make are very similar, if not the same exact arguments that people make in the Halo community about the game being made specifically for esports, to tailor to the pro gamers, forgetting about, the casual player. So let's see what he has to say.
To make this video simple and short, I'm not going to talk about everything surrounding this topic. I'm going to be focusing on general balance and game tweaks that get decided by the pro players in the Call of Duty community. The pro players in the Call of Duty community play the game more than most people. They play the game at a higher level than all people. They are the upper 1% of COD players. I don't watch competitive Call of Duty as much as I used to, but I've seen a lot. The plays they make, their reaction time, their accuracy, their tactics, the way they play the game modes, the absolute battle of attrition that takes place up on main stage, it's all impressive to watch. But keep in mind, they are playing a version of the game only 1% of players probably play. I'm not counting GBs or competitive rule matches. I'm talking about when someone from FaZe plays against someone from Optic. So even though their expertise is above that of my own and probably yours, does that mean they should have so much weight when giving feedback to developers? Most people that play Call of Duty, and I've said this before and it is always relevant, most Call of Duty players do not give a shit about YouTube, Reddit, or competitive.
Now, he makes some great points in this intro. His main point being that only 1% of the game's population, maybe even less, are going to be playing the game at that level, the professional level, either Halo or COD. Where large amounts of money are on the line, where every single aspect of the game will get exploited. Any imbalance will be found and abused by pro gamers. And most players really don't care. They don't care about competitive. They don't care how to exploit something to get an advantage. Most people just want to play. I will say, I think Halo has more of a competitive aspect to it, especially compared to COD, but I think that's just because ranked play has been part of Halo since its inception on the original Xbox with Halo 2. I think COD started having a ranked play in Black Ops 2. I'm not sure though. But the question is, does that justify leaving weapon imbalances or exploits in the game just because, the average player isn't going to abuse it? They're not going to take advantage of it. They're not going to, make it a problem. But the pros obviously will. Now, there's two glitches I have up on the screen right now. They are the super slide or thrust slide glitch and also a power-up cancel glitch. These were both glitches that were present in Halo 5 and were removed due to pro player backlash. The reason that these were removed is that I know the game's advanced mobility and all, but you're not supposed to be able to traverse the map this quickly. It was a glitch where you would thrust down like a ramp, and when you crouched, if you timed it right, it would launch you across the map. And the other glitch, if you hold the pickup button, and then as you go to pick it up, you hit the melee button, it would cancel the animation. And the reason that the animation is there is supposed to be a balancing aspect where you can't just go and grab it right away. You kind of risk that couple seconds where you're defenseless. So this is added to balance the game. And because pros complained about this, 343 removed it. This is potentially game breaking, these glitches. And without pro player feedback, without balancing the game, this could break the game. Now, I know if you think about it, the lower levels, the average Halo player, they're not going to even know about this. They're not going to exploit it. But if you're just an average player in matchmaking, say, you're grinding, you're about to get your Onyx for your first time, you really want to win this game. You've never been Onyx before. And someone flies across the map with his glitch, kills you. You were about to kill his teammate, win the game, and he flies across the map, kills you. You're going to be infuriated, and it's going to definitely affect you. You're going to complain that, you might even think he's hacking. And it's just not supposed to be part of the game. And this is the only reason this is taken out of the game is because of pro players complaining about the exploit. Personally, I kind of like these glitches. It kind of reminds me of like the button glitches in Halo 2. But, it's not supposed to be part of the game. The pros didn't want it in there for whatever reason, and they took it out. So that's one or two examples of, the positive aspect of the way that pros play the game and how it positively affects changes. So the next clip I'm about to show you is from the One Booms video, and he explains how casuals just kind of get shit on for their opinions just because, they're not really good at the game. So let's check that out.
So if you were to say that these players that don't really engage with the community and they're just kind of the Joe Schmo casual players, they really shouldn't care too much about what happens to the game if they're not going to be actively involved. And I would agree with you, that is a defensible position. But the thing is even if these players gave their feedback, a lot of them wouldn't be listened to. The Battlefield community is not the only one that shuns people's opinions because they're not as good as they are.
So the One Boom has a great point. Obviously casuals and competitive players should both have a say in the game. And casuals definitely get shit on for their opinions just because they're not that good in the game. I'll bring up this infamous T-Squared tweet where he basically just says, I play more Halo than you, go play campaign. And, I usually find T-Squared to be pretty diplomatic, but he came off a little douchey in this tweet, obviously. You can't, regardless whether or not that point is valid, you just can't come across it that way, in my opinion. You need to give reasons as to why. Like, I think there's some merit to this argument. Casuals don't understand the game balancing aspects of the game the way that pro players do. If something's overpowered, the casual might complain about it, but they're not gonna, they can't give you a great explanation as to why it's overpowered, what needs to be done to fix it. And I think a lot of the mix-up is really the pros kind of ask for it to get fixed. They want a certain thing, and then the weapon gets nerfed in a different way. And that was really prevalent with the title update. And then it's something that the pros didn't even want. They're like, well, this doesn't work either. Like asking for one thing, get a different, neither side's happy. And then you get the pros that are like, saying things like this, and then you have the casuals that, pros are just whiny, ask for something, they're never happy, there's never anything good enough for them, and, it causes a disconnect where, both sides are really trying to come together and get a good game in the end, and at the end, like, they get caught up in the middle and they're arguing with each other where, they both just want what's best for the game. But being on opposite sides, they end up butting heads where, maybe if they nerfed the guns the way that the pros asked, both sides would be happy. But it just doesn't work out that way just because, it wasn't nerfed the way they wanted. He goes on to talk about how pros ask for certain guns to be nerfed. He specifically talks about the M1 Garand because they're overpowered in the competitive scene, but in an average matchmaking game, it's kind of difficult to use, so it kind of levels out the gun. It's not really overpowered in an average player's hands. And I definitely understand this argument. It's kind of the idea that, one person or one small group ruins it for the bulk of everyone. It's kind of like when you're in school and your teacher plans a fun activity to do, Christmas coming up and you're going to build a gingerbread house, right? Then some asshole classmate gets in trouble and the teacher ends up making everyone write out sentences for vocab words. Man, fuck that kid. But there's reasons that things are getting buffed and nerfed, and it's so that no single weapon is overpowered or too good in too many situations. I don't want to get too much into COD in this video, but the One Boom mentions the FG nerf, and he says, you know, if it's not one thing, it's another gun. No one's ever happy. The best gun in the game overall, just everyone complains that it's too good. But that's not the thing. The gun can't be too good in too many situations. The FG needed a nerf. It was great at long range, great at medium range. It didn't have a lot of recoil. It's a 3-shot kill, and then it was still a pretty viable weapon at close range. The rate of fire wasn't too bad. If you get in close quarters combat and you hit your 3 bullets, you're still gonna kill an SMG, and you can't be doing that. It can't be too good in too many situations. Sorry, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but it has to be balanced. Every single weapon, power up, grenade, whatever, there has to be a counter. You have to have a way to be able to get out of the situation, or there has to be a weakness with that gun where you can outplay someone. If there's a gun that's just the jack of all trades, good in every situation, then everyone's going to use it, and it actually will end up being a one-gun game, which is, you know, what he says that the pros want, which is definitely not the case. This is why 343 had the weapon tuning playlist, and they basically changed the entire sandbox. The rifles were simply just too good. They were better than the pistol in literally every situation. BMR, DMR, LR were better weapons than the pistol regardless. Close range, medium range, long range. And long range, it was stupid. That's why they had to remove all of the rifles off of Truth, because teams would get the rifles and then the game would just snowball. The teams would get stuck in the base with pistols and they literally couldn't do anything. I know the bulk of the community, especially those that, you know, don't really care for competitive, were pissed about this update just because it literally changed the entire game around. You know, people were complaining that 2 years into the game, and, you know, people have tendencies or they're used to weapons doing certain things, and it was just completely changed. But this isn't the pros' fault for asking for problems to be fixed. You know, they're just trying to make the game better. They're doing what they can to balance everything out. You know, it's 343's fault for not making the changes that the pros wanted. The pros have the most knowledge as to what will make the game balanced and play well. And, you know, if they give suggestions and 343 aren't following them, then it's not their fault. You know, they're trying to make the game better. They want the game to be as good as it can. Exactly what, you know, casual players want. They want the game to be the best it possibly can. You know, they literally only ask for rifles that have less aim assist for close quarters, and they want the DMR to be a 3-shot beatdown for a kill instead of 2-shot beatdown for a kill. You know, little changes like this is what's going to balance it out. You know, the DMR is a great close quarters weapon because a pistol is 3 shots in a beatdown, a DMR is 2. That gives it a huge close quarters advantage. And it's supposed to be the marksman rifle. It's supposed to be literally the longest distance other than the sniper. So the changes that they asked for are alright. You know, it's all in the best intention for the game. It's just that it didn't turn out well, and then it seems like the fingers get pointed at them when they're really just trying to help the game improve. But hey, you know, I'm just the average Halo player. I'm just trying to bridge the gap. I enjoy competitive, I enjoy playing casually, and I just want everyone to get along. We can do this, guys. These are just my thoughts I wanted to share, and I want to hear what you have to say. Do you think pros are whiny little bitches? Do you think that the plebs just need to kill themselves? Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Catch you on the flip side.